4 years old, and I am about to tell you something that will probably surprise you. 5 years ago, at the age of 69, I left my husband after 42 years of marriage, and it was the hardest and best decision I ever made. I know what you are thinking. 69. Is that not too late to start over? Why would anyone leave a marriage? She must be unstable. She must be selfish. She must be having some kind of crisis. Maybe that is what it looks like from the outside, but from the inside I was finally breathing. And if you are sitting in an unhappy marriage right now, telling yourself you have already invested too much time, or that you are too old to begin again, I need you to hear the decades believing the same lies you might be believing right now. But before I tell you why I left, I need to tell you why I stayed for so long, because that is the part nobody talks about. Everyone wants to know what finally made you leave. They never ask about the invisible chains that keep you there year after year. It was 1979. We were living just outside Cleveland, Ohio. I thought I was doing everything right. My husband, Thomas, was dependable. He had a steady job. He came from a good family. My parents approved. My friends said I was lucky. I wore a white dress and believed in forever. The problems did not arrive loudly. They arrived quietly. No obvious betrayal. Nothing you could easily point to and say this is wrong. He simply did not see me, did not really hear me, did not ask what I wanted or needed. Every major decision was his. Where we lived, how money was spent, what our weekends looked like. When I suggested something different, he brushed it aside. That is impractical. That does not mean would we do that. Eventually, I stopped suggesting anything at all. I remember one night, maybe 6 years into the marriage, I told him I wanted to go back to school. I had always wanted to finish my degree in English literature. He smiled and laughed, not cruelly, just dismissively, like I had said something naive. What would you even do with that? He could not afford that right now. There was always something more important, his career, the house, the car payments, everything except me. I told myself this was marriage, compromise, sacrifice, being realistic. My mother had stayed in a quiet, unhappy marriage. So had my grandmother. This was just what women did. Then we had children, 2 daughters. And suddenly, I am doing this for them, I told myself. They need stability. They need both parents. I poured everything into being a mother. If I could not be seen as a woman, at least I could be needed as a mother. For a while, that was enough. The girls kept me busy. They distracted me from how lonely I felt lying next to someone who felt more like a roommate than a partner, like strangers. We attended school events together, went to church, hosted holiday dinners. From the outside, we looked fine, respectable, stable. But inside the house, we barely spoke. Whole weekends passed where we moved around each other like ghosts, sharing space, never connection. I remember our 25th anniversary. Our daughters threw up glasses and spoke about our beautiful marriage and lasting love. I smiled. I thanked everyone. And that night I went home with a man I no longer loved, lay on my side of the bed and cried silently into my pillow. The years kept going. The girls grew up, moved out, built lives of their own. And suddenly my reason for staying, they did not need me to stay anymore. But by then I had a new reason. What would people think? I was 56, then 61, then 66. We shared our history, friends, family. How do you untangle over 40 years? How do you tell your children happiness? And practically, how does a woman in her late 60s start over? I had not worked full-time in decades. I did not have my own income. So I stayed, year after year, telling myself it was too late, too complicated, too frightening. Until the call from my doctor. I was 68. It was a routine mammogram. I had done dozens before. It's not routine. He said the word no one is prepared to hear. Cancer, breast cancer, stage 2. Caught early but serious. Surgery, possibly radiation. I sat there listening to treatment plans and statistics, and all I could think was, I am going to die having never really lived. Not because the prognosis was bad, it was not, but because I was unbearable. I had been slowly disappearing for decades. The surgery was scheduled 3 weeks later, and in those 3 weeks something shifted inside me. Fear, clarity, the awareness of time. All the reasons I had stayed, reputation, comfort, fear, suddenly felt meaningless. Because if I died tomorrow, the last 40 years of my life would have been a performance. The cancer was removed. Recovery was quiet. I remember lying in that hospital bed while my husband sat nearby scrolling through his phone, not holding my hand, not speaking, just present in body, and I knew. At 69 years old, I made a decision. If I was lucky, I might have 10 or 15 years left, and I refused to spend them slowly disappearing. I told Thomas I wanted a divorce. He did not get angry. He looked confused. We have been married over 40 years, he said. Exactly, I replied, and I have been lonely for almost all of them. The divorce took nearly a year. It was painful, expensive, uncomfortable. Some friends disappeared. My sister told me I was selfish. You are throwing everything away, she said. Throwing anything away. I was finally choosing myself. Telling my daughters was the hardest part. They were grown by then in their late 30s. They were shocked. But you and Dad always seemed fine, one of them said. That broke my heart, because it meant I had hidden my unhappiness so well that even my children believed it was normal. Eventually, them even thanked me. She said watching me choose myself gave her permission to question her own life. At 70, I moved into my own apartment alone for the first time in my life. I was terrified. I woke up at night wondering if I had ruined everything. But I did not fall apart. I learned, I adjusted, and slowly I remembered who I was. The woman who loved books, dreams. I even went on a date. It did not last, but it reminded me that it is never too late to feel seen. I am 74 now. My life is not perfect. My apartment is small. My income is modest. Sometimes I am lonely, but I am free. And that freedom is worth more than anything I lost. Here is the truth no one tells you. The regret is about not leaving sooner. If you are watching this and quietly unhappy at any age, hear this. You are not too old. It is not too late. And you have not invested too much time. The life you are waiting for is waiting for you to choose it. If this story touched something in you, I want to ask you one thing. What is one fear that has Cav? You do not have to explain everything. Just one word is enough. Sometimes writing it down is the first step to letting it go.